Prepare to experience the strongest radio allowable by law. Secrets will be revealed. Myths dispelled. From the studio gym where excuses never apply, it's Superhuman Radio with your host, Carl Lenore.
Welcome back to another episode of Superhuman Radio. You know, the entire planet is tweaked right now. I talk to so many people throughout the day, and everybody is freaked the F out. Oh, am I going to be forced to be vaccinated? Oh, people who are unvaccinated are making me sick. Oh, the government is doing this to us now. Oh, the local government is doing it. Everybody is freaking out. I have to believe that the rise in depression, the rise in anxiety, the rise in suicide is because everybody on the planet today, except maybe some smaller countries who apparently don't have any problem with the virus because they don't know about it, which is really an interesting concept in and of itself if you look at it, is literally at their wits' end. They feel angst 24/7. They wake up in the middle of the night worrying about things they can't control. Is my employer going to force me to get vaccinated? Do I have to quit my job now in order to protect my health? It's a scary time. And no other thing is beneficial right now than something that we already know the population is starving for. And that is something to turn the angst down. People are caffeinating themselves even more. We have to start looking at things that go in the other direction. We really, really do. And one of those things is a mineral that we're going to talk about today. And that is magnesium. Right now, there are people who are seeing the benefits of supplementing with additional magnesium. Interestingly enough, when you're stressed out, your body burns up magnesium even faster. Think about that. And we're going to talk more about that in just a second when my good friend, Wade Lightheart, joins me in just a second. I want to also announce that all the tasty pastries are going out. Those of you who have emailed me and said, this is the second time I'm trying, the third time I'm trying, it's because of me. I'm overwhelmed. I've got so many plates in the air right now. I feel like that guy on the Ed Sullivan Show. Those of you who are old enough to remember the Ed Sullivan Show, maybe I'm the only one. But all the tasty pastries are on their way out that we promised, boxes and boxes and boxes. And they will go out timely every single day now because I found the system that we can use to extrapolate your email address, and information out and send it on to Legendary Foods. So let's first give an honorable thank you to Ron Penna over at Legendary Foods for all the free stuff we're giving away, thanks to his generosity. If you haven't tried the tasty pastry, you're missing out. Go to shrnetwork.biz/legendary. Use the code SHR10 to save 10% off. And if you listen during the commercial break today, you'll hear the secret word. Just email that secret word to onair@superhumanradio.net. Be sure to include your mailing address because you are going to get a box of tasty pastry. You don't have to win. Just by sending the email, you won. But if I have to email you back to say, hey, what's your address? I may not do it because I'm overwhelmed and I'm lazy and I'm giving clear instructions here. When you hear the secret word, include the secret word in the email along with your name and mailing address, and we will send you a box of tasty pastry. And it doesn't get simpler than that. And now my good friend, Wade Lightheart, who I don't really get enough time to spend with, a guy that I really, really like a lot. And I think that he is not only just honorable, but a critical thinker. And I love people who think critically. How you doing, Wade?
You know, I'd love to say that I'm great, but like you kind of did on the show opening, I think we're at a crossroads for humanity. And I think managing our mental, physical, emotional state is of critical importance because it appears that the officials that we've entrusted to run this country are not capable of operating under the tenets of our Constitution, or they are shirking their responsibility to the people for autonomy and freedom.
And I have to believe that you have double angst because you have people that you love and care about that live in Trudeau's Canada right now, correct?
Correct.
And Trudeau's Canada, it looks like the United States, but on steroids because our country was forged through rebellion. That's how. Okay, so it's almost like you've been in a fight once in your life. You know you're not going to die. You can fight, and sometimes you win. But other countries like Australia, Canada, and even the UK to some extent, their people are not mobilized. They almost look like they're frozen because they feel like, oh, there's nothing we can do. We can just all we have to do is take it, and that's got to make you frustrated because being in the United States, where there is still hope that American people will push back. There's no hope in those other countries, is there?
Yeah, that's I have a friend who has been part of the peaceful protest in Canada and is facing millions of dollars in fines and 7 or 8 years in prison, just for saying, hey, I don't think these mandates serve us. And so that kind of tyranny, and we have a different political system, a parliamentary system, which is actually still run by the Queen at its absolute. They have a lieutenant governor and things like that. So, which is actually a form of military, and we don't have some of the same freedoms. The other thing is the medical system is cooked in with the government very deeply, and so what's happened is, and this has been happening in the health food industry for years. One of the reasons I left Canada is because lobbyist group from pharmaceutical corporations have intervened and blocked a lot of great health products to Canada because of this influence. And so I've been witnessing this influence literally, this is no surprise to me because there's been this tyranny in the food supplement business inside of these countries.
Right.
And anyone who's in the industry understands they regulate what you can say, what you can't say. They take
hell, you can't get more than 60 milligrams of vitamin C in a tablet there, like it's gonna hurt. You can get more than 60 milligrams of vitamin C in a glass of orange juice. I'm surprised they haven't banned that. Orange juice can only be served in shot glasses.
Yeah,
it's terrible.
It's very when we've crossed over a threshold where there's no pushback from the public, essentially. And I believe that people have become hypnotized and think they've become cowardly, largely in part because they've become soft of the conveniences of civilization. And and they're also, I think, mentally, they're struggling to stay focused on what's important. And they are distracted by that which is unimportant. And all of these things are leading to. And what's interesting is the number one group of resistance towards what I call medical authoritarianism and what could be digital tyranny is people who are in the health industry, like you and me, people who have recognized and saw this movement for many, many years as they try to pin us into corners. There's so many things that we haven't been able to say or to speak freely or to comment about, whether there's supportive evidence, whether it's our opinions or anything else. We've already been in this box. And now that's just spread to every single field. And, because we communicate a lot digitally, it's squelched things radically. And, being on the front line as a health advocate is a very dangerous game and has been for some time. But now that's just kind of correlated to the public. And I'm hoping and I'm hopeful that as citizens will recognize as our right as citizens is to, let the government know that, hey, these are our representatives. They work for us. It's not the other way around. And we have to remember this.
I think you pointed out something very, very interesting, too, before the show. And I want to mention this now that we're on this topic, before we get into what magnesium can do to people who are overly tweaked. And Peter Panorgas, he lives in Canada, and he's watching live today. His name isn't showing up because of some security settings. He says, Canada's fudged up, but we're still better off than Australia for now. And that's true. But what I want people to understand is this. If you talk to anyone who's put in a life-threatening situation regularly, let's say a Navy SEAL, they will tell you that a lot of work is done to put them in uncomfortable and even painful situations, and they remain focused and relaxed
Yes.
No good decision can be made when you are freaking out. In fact, most people, when they're freaking out, they do things that actually get them killed. And that's why the only chance, it's like I ride a motorcycle. There's an old saying, there's always a way out. If a car comes in front of you, you don't look at the car, you look at the opening and you go there. And so you can only do that if you're not freaking out and just jamming on your brakes and holding on for dear life. The government wants everyone to be bickering and fighting right now.
Correct.
And those who stay clear-headed and grounded and just sit quietly and watch what's going on and don't get into it, we can actually see what's really going on here. And you said something very interesting. Now that we live in a digital age with quants and predictive algorithms and all that sort of stuff, the government knows ahead of time before they do something like Biden is not going to say a word on September 11th to commemorate the 7th. That's done on purpose. You know why? Because now there's this whole mob out there. He's not gonna do. And these distractions are purposeful, folks.
Mm-hmm.
It's the 3-card Monty guy on the street. You're watching the wrong hand because he's doing things to make you watch that hand and not this hand. And we are filled with a population of people who do nothing else but watch fake news all day long and then repeat that fake news and get themselves into a tizzy all day long. And they're not helping themselves at all. In fact, they're actually allowing the government to do to them what the government wants to do to them, so the government can go off and do the things it really wants to do, like sell us out to China and other places like that.
Well, and I would say that actually, I would go one step further in that the government are agents for organizations who have nothing to do with the government. The representatives of the people have now become agents of malaligned actors who are not operating from the principles that the Constitution is designed under.
Well, the reason they were hired to go into you put people in office with your vote that you think are going to go to DC and represent your wants and desires. That was the purpose, to have these representatives, but they're not. They lie to you. We know. Look, they look into the camera and they lie. It started with William Jefferson Clinton. I did not have sex with Monica Lewinsky. He looked right into the camera and he lied. And every single politician since then looks into the camera and lies because they believe in the greater good. And the greater good is actually a form of psychopathy. If I think that killing your husband is good for your family and I make that decision, then I'll kill your husband and feel no guilt because I did it for the greater good. This is how governments, this is why people who are sick and dying from the vaccine don't really matter. They don't matter because for the greater good, some people have to die, except when it's you that's the one that has to die.
Yeah, and the thing is the state has the license of violence. So
yes,
the state,
great point.
And so the other thing is with digital surveillance, I believe that many of our elected officials are compromised and then coerced and then finally corrupted, depending on what level they're going to. And that is a part that we have to recognize. These are humans, flawed human beings who are trying to maintain a certain public image, which is largely manufactured by a group of writers and marketing agents and things like that. And then
actors to act it out. Now politicians today are actors. They're not politicians anymore.
So what happens? And then, you know, with a little bit of searching on the backgrounds of people, I mean, who wants to be judged by their decisions when they were 17, 18, 19, 20, 21? And so they manufacture these personas, and then suddenly they come backwards. They involve them. Maybe they got involved in something that was a little shady or something that was off. And all of a sudden they're sat in a room and said, hey, by the way, this is going to come out against you. if you don't kind of move the bench forward. So they're coerced because on some level they're compromised. And if they go along with the coercion, well, then it's the next piece and the next piece. And finally, it's like, well, hey, this is the direction. Do you want to be part of it or not? And for us, if we recognize that and we see the bigger picture, we have to step back and realize there is a potential renaissance of the human spirit that is potentially available to us at this point. Right. How long? The question I said is not the question, and not that people have been lying to us and telling us poor stories and stuff. It's the question of, is now it's being right in your face, revealed.
Right.
It's very clear.
They're not hiding anything anymore.
So now the lie is become apparent, right? And so it is up to us as, you know, our responsibility to those who fought for our freedoms in the past, and for those that are yet to come, to stand up for them. And part of that, in order to do that, is you have to maintain the health and vitality of the physical vessel so that you can make, as you illustrated before, good cognitive decisions that are based on reason, that are based on logic, and are based on responsibility, because you cannot have rights without the responsibility that those rights entail. So everybody's talking about rights or this or that. You have no rights unless you're willing to take the responsibility to maintain them.
Right.
And this is what people have to recognize. And that was in the Constitution aspect of the United States, the great experiment, which has been the most successful experiment in self-government in the history of the planet. And it is the last straw to fall to, or we will be plunged into a techno tyranny, maybe forever, in a post-human world. That's what we're faced with. And so I love the benefits of technology. They're great. We're talking on this,
right now,
platform, phones, internet, and stuff like that. But we haven't fully grasped the consequences of this. What is the effects of electromagnetic pollution? What about the last 80 years of
unbridled chemical warfare on our population in the name of preservatives and agriculture and everything else, right?
And so, maybe it started off well-meaning, but then driven by, profiteering, led into this whole other world, and then now just abject corruption. And this happens periodically throughout history. But this time it's different because now it is so easy for centralization to control so many people, the thoughts, the minds, and feelings.
And so many of these people, Elise's stepdad, he's 86 years old. He's got COPD. He sits in front of the TV. He watches CNN. And then when we go over there and we have conversations with him, it's like he's on a different planet. He's unaware of what's really going on out there. All he's being told is that the government is good. We're doing what's best for you. You need 6 vaccines. You also need these daily pills now. No one is, I don't understand it. A friend of mine who's a recruiter in the Army told me that an IQ of 86 is the cutoff for the Army. If you have an IQ of 86 or below, you are unteachable. Now think about that for a second.
Well, you're a danger to the unit.
And well, of course, if you're unteachable, you're a danger to the unit and everybody around you. So they won't accept someone with an IQ of under 86. And they estimate that 12 to 16% of the population has adult population. I'm not talking about children now, has an IQ of under 86. Think about that. There are people that the Army wouldn't let in that are working with you side by side right now and voting, and they're watching CNN, and they have no critical thinking skills, and whatever the government says they do. And if the government throws a little money their way, they're happy. And these are the people that are swaying decisions today. It's really scary. In fact, I often wish there was a virus that only got rid of the very ignorant people, because think about how wonderful the world. Oh, I'm sorry. I guess I'm ignorant. It got rid of me. No, no, but really, I mean, imagine a virus that got rid of only the ignorant people on the planet. How wonderful things would be here.
Well, it's interesting. And the bottom line, I guess, really comes to is, what is the agency that we can take control of, which is our own self, our own family, and our own community. And I think we get focused on what happens in Washington, and we forget what happens in our own community or in our own households. And so we have to start there. And number one is, all one has to do is turn on both channels of the news, both channels,
Yeah.
and see, well, how can we have two completely deviant explanations of the same event? And so why is that? Why can we not come to concurrence? Because there's a profit in the conflict. There's a conflict. There's a profit in the opposition of ideas. And, you pick team blue or team red or team vax or team non-vax, or you take team pharmaceutical versus team natural. And that is that polarized dualistic thinking is what gets us into very grave trouble. It's a binary decision tree, and that will lead you into an abyss of decisions, because invariably you're going to make mistakes inside of that. You can't know everything at all times. And when you politicize everything and you polarize everything, then you end up in these fractionated tribalistic mentalities that lead to chaos. And if you read The Art of War, which I'm a big student of, that is exactly how foreign powers can take over the country. You divide the country amongst itself. You usurp its leaders. You use spies and infiltration. You pay off people, and then the country welcomes you in with open arms. And the reality is the tech oligarchs of this country are welcoming in foreign powers because it's profitable for them, so that they can maintain techno tyranny over the population. Mm-hmm. And that limits what we can say, what we can do. And once you break free of that, once you break free of the addiction of social media, of regular mainstream media, of the continuous propaganda that is being rammed down your throat, then you realize, wait a minute, none of this makes sense. And so the guy down the street who believes in, forced vaccinations and stuff, why does he believe that? Because he's been conditioned to it.
He's been told to. He has. If you ask him to show you the science behind vaccines, they don't work. Look, you don't have.
Daily studies are strong. I mean, they show that it's 20 times, natural immunity is 20 times stronger.
Right.
That you don't actually
last longer.
The antibodies don't last long. You have to continue to go on this thing. And all the leading virologists says the likelihood that you're generating the mutant strains, and then they're blaming on the people.
Oxford just published a study that showed that hospital workers that are fully vaccinated carry and shed 250 times more COVID-19 virus than unvaccinated people. Now think about that for a second. And we're wondering why 70% of the population in the United States is supposedly vaccinated, and we have a huge spike in new cases. And the thing is that the lack of critical thinking that stops people from asking themselves questions like, I wonder if the vaccine really is contributing to the spread, which many people in science are saying. Israel is showing it, but you can't ask that question, because then you're not on the team anymore.
Correct.
And this is not how you make decisions about your health and your family's health, that you want to be on the team, because that back in the day, Team Tobacco said you should smoke.
Yeah.
It's terrible. It's terrible. I've stopped posting anything political, anything about the vaccine. anything about the virus on social media, and here's why. Because social media is where all the lemmings go to get their information.
That's right.
And I'm not contributing. I'm not wasting another second of my valuable time trying to tell people my opinion, only to have them push back. So you know what? I've told this story to a couple people and in my life. My son actually told it when we were out at Quest one time. When my son was very young, Chase, maybe 9 or 10 years old, he wanted something desperately, and I said no, and he cried and he fought with me, and I said no, and he said, I'm going to kill myself. And I looked at him and I said, well, Chase, life isn't for everybody. If you think this is worth dying over, then I guess that's what you should do. Now, most people would say, Carl, are you crazy? I knew my son had no intentions of killing himself, but he was using that to try to leverage me and guilt me into doing something that I wasn't going to do. Well, from that moment on, he never, ever, ever, ever said, I'm going to kill myself, because he figured, oh my God, my father will tell me to go kill myself then. He told that story to Ron Penna at Quest once when we were there for a think tank. Ron looked at me and later on he asked me, weren't you worried? I said, no, I wasn't worried. My son isn't depressed. He wasn't going to, it was clearly a ploy. And then I told Chase later on, if you say that ever again in front of mixed company, they'll call a social worker and you will go into a system for threatening to hurt yourself, and it will change the direction of your life. I said, don't ever, ever say that again. And he never did. But my point is this. We have a population out there that is susceptible to the whims of the media, of social media, of the government, and they are being lied to, and they don't have the skills, the critical thinking skills to ask the right questions. And it's really
the people who are being shut down.
Yes.
That's the other problem.
Yeah. Look at Joe Rogan. God bless him. I'm so happy with what Joe did.
Yeah.
I mean, I know. So in fact, we're getting ready to do another episode of the COVID files where people have gotten it and were like better in 3 days and didn't do anything special, because all we hear about is people who are dying. Oh, this guy died. I have a friend who can't go get the second shot because the blood clots he got from the first shot caused a thrombotic event.
Yeah.
No one's talking about this stuff. Nobody.
And what about age and obesity, which are the biggest comorbidities? Let's address that. I mean, it's true. It is more impactful for people who are old. And if you're morbidly obese, that is the big factor. So are we shutting down people who are morbidly obese? Are we banning them to go to McDonald's?
We should be.
And to fast foods and things like that? Well, the question is, I'm not into banning those people from doing it. But I also think, hey, if you want to do that and you want to eat that food and you want to be obese and do that's fine. That's your choice.
Right.
But don't sit there stuffing your face with fast food, sugar, and ramming, poorly propagandized media down your brain as a way to tell me that I'm evil or I'm causing problem when you're not capable of looking at the data, looking at the information, and determining an accurate result. And that's what freedom is about. Freedom means that we can disagree.
Yes.
Freedom means that there is a risk involved to freedom. And the founders of this country figured out that it was better to risk. It's better to endure the risk that comes with freedom than to go without it, because every country in the world historically was under tyranny. This is the great experiment. Yeah. This is the one of self-government. And in self-government, as in the world that we live in, we have to be responsible for our health. We have to be responsible for our education. And what is being rammed down our throats is education, which is really propaganda. Yeah. And that's what the issue is. We're dealing with a propaganda arm of the world that is not got your health in best interest. And that's evidenced by every dollar that we spend in medical intervention. The illness goes up, disability adjusted life expectancy goes up. The third or fourth leading cause of death, depending on it, is medical error. That is errors that have occurred from a variety of different people putting their 2 cents worth and actually killing or hurting the clients that they're supposedly serving. And now we have institutionalized government people making medical decisions, which they have no business on. And, Nazism started by forced medical intervention through propaganda that Jewish people were somehow infected with disease and needed to be hauled off and cleansed. And they killed them and put them in work camps.
Well, and we now have politicians in the United States that are saying that the unvaccinated deserve to die. So that, this is what happens. The unvaccinated deserve to die. Then the next step is we need to kill all the unvaccinated.
Correct.
But there's 100 million of us.
We're already being imprisoned.
Right.
In Canada, for example, and British Columbia, in Ontario, they're implementing vaccine passports. You can't go to a gym. You can't go to a restaurant. You can't go to any public place unless you have a medical vaccination card.
Right.
And so we're seeing this being implemented and rolled out. And there are people within this country which are pushing towards this on both sides of the aisle. So you're really dealing with the uniparty. And if people start to recognize that, wait a second, this isn't about a left versus right. This is about a freedom versus tyranny equation.
Yes. And governments always move towards tyranny. Bigger government is just closer to tyranny. We're going to control every aspect of your life. We're going to tell you what you can do and what you can't do. You're going to have a license for that. You have to pay us for that. This is all tyranny. This is why smaller government, like Rand Paul talks about and his father talked about for years and years and years, is the only way to protect people is smaller government. We have to take a break. We've got you jazzed up now, right?
We do.
Now we're going to tell you how to calm down. Stay tuned right after more Superhuman Radio. Remember those rectangular toaster pastries you used to love when you were a kid? Well, Legendary Foods has just made them better. The new cake-style tasty pastry is like nothing you've ever had before. With 20 grams of high-quality protein and less than 1 gram of sugar, you'll feel like you're cheating, but you're not. Go to shrnetwork.biz/legendary and use the code SHR10 to save 10% off your purchase of tasty pastries. Now available in cookies and cream, red velvet cake, birthday cake, blueberry, strawberry, brown sugar cinnamon, and hot fudge sundae. Go to shrnetwork.biz/legendary and use code SHR10 today. If there is one mineral you should be worried about not getting enough of, it's magnesium. Magnesium is the body's master mineral, powering over 300 critical reactions, including detoxification, fat metabolism, energy, and even digestion is influenced by the presence of magnesium. That's why I'm so excited to tell you about a new magnesium product I've been taking now called Magnesium Breakthrough. It's the ultimate magnesium supplement, easily the best I've ever seen or experienced. With all 7 forms of magnesium, I was able to arrange an amazing deal for my audience, and I guarantee it's the best deal available on this product. Seriously, with volume discounts combined with our custom 10% coupon code SHR10, you can save up to 40% off select packages of Magnesium Breakthrough. And I promise that this deal is only available on this specific website, magbreakthrough.com/SHR. You won't find that deal on Amazon or even on the company's own website. Go to magbreakthrough.com/SHR and use code SHR10 to save up to 40% off select packages of Magnesium Breakthrough. Magnesium. I need to share with you all a revolutionary new wearable technology called HapBee. HapBee allows you to enjoy the effects of caffeine, alcohol, nicotine, melatonin, and muscle relaxants without actually ingesting anything. Yes, really. They figured out the unique magnetic signature of each of these molecules and recorded them. Just put the HapBee on, choose the signal you want, and it starts projecting the magnetic signature of that molecule that you choose, like coffee for feeling alert. Go to happy.com/SHR. That's HAPBEE.com/SHR to learn more and unlock an $80 discount exclusively for the Superhuman Radio listeners. Every day, there's a new wellness trend. Eat that. Do this, avoid those. How do you know where to start or who to trust? Inside Tracker helps you cut through the noise by analyzing your blood, your DNA, your lifestyle, and your fitness tracker to provide you with a science-backed, trackable action plan on how to live, age, and perform better. Personalized, one-size-fits-one recommendations to help you optimize you. For a limited time, Inside Tracker is offering Superhuman Radio listeners 25% off the entire store. Go to shrnetwork.biz/inside tracker, INSIDETRACKER, to save 25% off. Change begins on the inside. Hey, this is Carl Lenore. Superhuman Radio is the longest running health, fitness, and anti-aging podcast in the world, going into our 16th year of continuous production. If you have a product that you think would appeal to the Superhuman Nation, we can get you on the air quickly and inexpensively to help promote your brand. Join the ranks of some of the largest and most successful companies in the world who know how great it is to be affiliated with Superhuman Radio. Contact Dan Kapitsky today. That's DAN.KOPITZKE at superhumanradio.net to learn more.
This is the Superhuman Channel, doing reps with the weight of the world.
Welcome back. So I think it's very interesting that some of the early research in sports performance was the application of magnesium, because those who perform Olympic sports and are athletes, they put their bodies under a lot of stress. And stress does two things. Number one, it depletes magnesium. That should make you ask you why. Why is it depleting Well, because magnesium is used in modulating stress. And the other thing that it does is it completely disrupts homeostasis. When you train hard, all these athletes are literally on the verge of getting sick at any minute in time. So when you think about stress, now think about the world today. We are all stressed out. I know I am. I feel burnt out some days. I really do. And a lot of it has to do with from here up. Mm-hmm. It's not my body that feels burnt out. It's my brain. Between managing this problem and that problem and the news and what's threatening. Oh, and, people call me and say, hey, what are we going to do? You get stressed out and magnesium drops. Magnesium has been shown in numerous studies. If you Google the word magnesium, the word anxiety or depression or stress, and just make sure you add the 3 letters at the very end of your Google search, NIH, the National Institutes of Health. It will sort only studies, peer-reviewed studies. What you will find is that scientists have known for a very long time that magnesium is a natural anxiolytic, antidepressant, lowers blood pressure. I mean, it just goes on and on and on and on. Why don't doctors tell people, I don't care who you are, take magnesium because you probably need it? They don't, but they'll give you a blood pressure medication. They'll give you Xanax for your anxiety and all this other stuff. And more than ever before, people need more magnesium today. Am I being absurd with these statements, you think?
No, not at all. In fact, Charles Poliquin was the first professional trainer that came to public acclaim. He trained gold medalists in 27 different sports and a who's who of professional athletes. And one of his key secrets to allow the athletes to recover from the stress of training was to use different types of magnesium to alleviate the nervous system stress. And we worked off Charles' work when we developed Magnesium Breakthrough and expanded upon it. Because, more and more information and research and variants came in. There's different, if you look at all the research papers, and we did hundreds and hundreds of studies on the benefits of magnesium, there were different types of magnesium. And then so we started to look at comparative analysis of magnesium and meta-analysis. And we came to the conclusion that the best way to address magnesium deficiency was to take a variety of different types of magnesiums, because it was apparent that different types of magnesiums were uptaken by the body differently. And why do we need magnesium? Well, since the last 80, 90 years of commercialized farming, since World War II, we've had a massive disruption and depletion of magnesium in our diets because we're not getting it from the soil. Concordantly, we've added calcium to enrich almost everything, and calcium is used also as another preservative agent in a lot of foods. So we have disproportionately high levels of calcium and disproportionately low levels of magnesium. And calcium and magnesium are operate in about a 2-to-1 ratio inside the body. So if you have too much calcium and not enough magnesium, your body actually starts dumping calcium and leads to bone degeneration in the concordant magnesium or magnesium-based deficiencies, because your body's trying to deregulate everything, and you get a cascade effect of deregulation. And for one person, that means they can't make the polypeptide change, right? To make their brain operate. Another person gets vasoconstriction, and they cut off blood supply to their brain. Another person gets muscle cramping. Another person feels overstimulated from any amount of caffeine. They get an adrenaline response, or they can't sleep at night. Is a very common one. I believe that sleep is a big issue. And then if you look at the electromagnetic pollution studies, that staring into blue light, as well as being exposed to electrical magnetic frequency pollution, which we all are to various levels, depending on where we live, certainly if we're in cities, causes an increase of the exhaustion of magnesium inside the body. And so what that means to live in a digital world, a highly electronic world, is we actually need to take more magnesium than we're originally regulated, even if we could get it from our diet. So you can't get enough from your diet. It's virtually impossible. And yet almost no one's talking about it. However, when we addressed it, we addressed it from my own burnout issues. Matt and I burned out. We're physically vital guys. We're doing everything. We couldn't figure out what's going on. And when I did my testing, SpectraCell testing, it said my magnesium levels are really low. And I'm like, I got a really good, I couldn't figure this out. I mean, I have a super magnesium rich diet.
Right.
So I started supplementing with different types of magnesium to test which was right. And I noticed an instant benefit. And then we started cranking the dose. And you run into problems when you start taking higher doses of different types of magnesium. And so we worked it all out over a number of months, came up with Magnesium Breakthrough. And just recently, we were able to improve the formula. We have 7 different types of magnesium. And we were able to add a new magnesium called sucrosomial, which is absorbed far better than citrate or oxide or bisglycinate or all these other magnesiums. And so we've added that to the formula. It's a lipid-based magnesium. And that means you get a bigger effect with less capsules. And, we're always looking at improving. And so that's the latest of Magnesium Breakthrough.
Now, William Cano says that I'm not sure if he says yours is the best supplement he's ever found for sleep or Mag L-threonate is, but your supplement does have magnesium L-threonate in it, which was written about 6 years ago.
Well, I want to interject here. I want to interject on threonate. So threonate is a great product, but there's a misnomer in that, and we've moved our magnesium threonate out of the product for a specific reason. I'm going to explain that. We're actually putting it in a sleep formula, which will be released this fall. And it crosses the barrier. Now, the reason we had to do that is magnesium threonate, and this is what most people don't know. There are 2 main sources of magnesium threonate. And one of the companies in North America that produces magnesium threonate forces you to have a higher dosage that you can have other magnesiums in the product. And so,
because magnesium threonate is the least, what's the word I'm looking for? Dense form of magnesium, because it's half magnesium and half vitamin C, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
And so the problem is you can't have the way they've kind of got their system going is that you can't have enough of that magnesium threonate and have all these other magnesium, which have these other variety of benefits. Right. And so what we did is we pulled magnesium threonate out of it, added sucrosomial instead, which I think is inevitably going to actually prove maybe even better than 3 and 8. And then we've popped 3 and 8 into our sleep formula, which is coming out this fall. We're actually in the third phase of our trials, which we've done 4 different versions of it. So we do multiple versions. We phase them out. We do our testing parameters. We have a testing team. And then we have a research team at Birch University in Croatia. We have docking agent, microbiome experts. We've got a whole team of people that do our research. And then we flesh that out over our testing group, both internally and externally. We have people that actually volunteer to test, and they give us the data so we can see a wide segment of the population and dietary stuff. So that'll be releasing very soon. So I want to be clear about that. And the thing is, I think Magnesium 3 is a great product. I think that if you were to look as an overall magnesium product, I think Magnesium Breakthrough is superior. 3 and 8 has some definite benefits. And if you want to do it for sleep, I think when they see the new sleep formula, they're going to be blown away by it.
So will there be B6 in the new sleep formula?
I'm not going to confirm or deny anything that's going to come out in the final version.
Why do you have B6 in the magnesium?
Well, it's a driving agent for magnesium. So if it's been shown that if you add B6 to the formulation, that you will get a higher absorption rate of the magnesium that you take in. And so we don't look at just what can we put in, but it's not how much you take, it's how much actually gets delivered to your cells. We knew this is why we built a digestive health.
And there's new evidence that what attaches to the red blood cell is the most important, more so than what's in serum.
And that's why I believe the SpectraCell test, which they actually draw blood and spin it and then take it and see how well your body absorbs a nutrient as well as how well your cells absorb it, is far superior than standardized testing that you get at your normal, like a normal blood test or natural. They send it off and spin it. And that's when I determined that despite having a high magnesium content in my diet, I wasn't absorbing that much. And so that I had to really, bump it up for me in order to overcome that deficiency. And was able to do so.
How many milligrams of magnesium a day do you get diet and supplement, do you think, personally?
Well, I supplement with, right now, I'm at about 1.5 grams of magnesium per day. Now, when I went through my depleted stage, I increased the dosage systematically, and we advocate for that. I took 0.5 gram in divided dosages throughout the day. And then I kept adding 250 milligrams per dosage over 4 dosages. And I got up to almost 6 grams a day before I got the runs. And then I stayed at that level. And then I started to titrate down over time, down to 5, down to 4, down to 3. And now it's been a couple years. And now I take 1.5 a day. If I notice that I'm a little bit extra anxious or a little bit stressed out because I got too involved in what the latest political debate was or whatever, I find that a couple extra capsules before I go to bed is very powerful in keeping me in a calm, relaxed state. And that's how I've learned it. And we've got a lot of evidence that people will titrate up or titrate down. Usually if you start out on divided dosages throughout the day, it's a great way to start. Go up till you get the runs and then go back down. That's orthomolecular nutrition and how you manage your own absorption rates. And it's great. It really makes a big difference.
Dean Paulson says the product is awesome for the gut and daily toilet health as well. When I said to Natalie today, so my good friend Jerome Williams, he wears a hat. It says, let SHIT go. Like don't let things take your life over. Just let it go. And so when I used that, I said today, let's call the show Let SHIT Go, and how magnesium can relax you. She said, well, there's like a double meaning there because high-low doses of magnesium make you go to the bathroom. So I thought that was funny that Dean picked up on that as well, by the way. We have to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to tell people again the offer, and we have a couple more questions we're going to get to. Magnesium is sorely missing from the American diet, and I would imagine diets around the world. And it's been shown to reverse type 2 diabetes for people who have been very, very low because it influences both insulin receptor sensitivity as well as other glucose moving targets on the membrane of the cell. If you are somebody who's borderline type 2 diabetic and you see your blood sugar going up and up and up, supplementing with magnesium quite often will knock that out in a few days. Just look for the study that was done on the Pima Indians in Arizona. It's not an old study. It's probably 10 years, 12 years old. But with that being said, magnesium has an anxiolytic effect, an antidepressant effect. This has all been shown in science. Like I said, just Google magnesium, depression, NIH, magnesium, anxiety, NIH, magnesium and cognition, NIH. Because when you improve insulin sensitivity, the brain starts to function better too. And you will find out that magnesium should be a foundational supplement that you take day in and day out, regardless of whether you think you're getting enough of it from your diet. And there is no better magnesium product on the market today, period. And I say that unabashedly because Magnesium Breakthrough has all of the most important forms of magnesium in one source. And if you go to shrnetwork.biz/mag and use the code SHR10, you'll save an additional 10% off plus free shipping. And Bioptimizers has a 100% satisfaction guarantee. If you're not happy with the product, send it back. You get your money back. They even cover paying for the shipping. I don't know any company. Most companies use that as an obstacle where you think, oh, now I'm going to pay $7 to send this back and get $29 back. Forget about it. They don't do that. So this is an honorable company that makes well thought out products that you can trust and you can feel good month in and month out spending your money on. shrnetwork.biz/mag. Use the code SHR10. We'll be right back with more. We'll answer the rest of your questions. Stay tuned. Redcon One's new BAR bar is the ultimate soft-baked protein-packed snack bar, powered by peanut butter. Perfect for while on the go to help curb hunger or sneaky sweet tooth cravings. With 20 grams of protein, use as a meal replacement bar or when you're in need of a high-protein snack. Eat a Redcon One bar as a midday snack or for fuel before an intense training session. Go to shrnetwork.biz/Redcon1 and use the code SHR25 and save 25% off these delicious bars today. I want to introduce you to Tau Patch, a heavily researched patented wearable device that provides immediate and long-lasting health benefits. Tau Patch's nanocrystals convert your body heat into light of specific therapeutic frequencies that optimize your central nervous system. The health benefits of Tau Patch include relief from chronic pain, better sleep, increased focus, reduced stress, improved athletic performance, and more. Discover what it can do for you by visiting shrnetwork.biz/Tau Patch. That's TAOPATCH. Use code SHR for your superhuman discount today. I would easily say that I am the hugest proponent you will ever meet to doing anything that will improve the quality of my sleep. And that's because sleep is linked to just about every metabolic disorder we see in our population today. One of the easiest things you can do to improve the quality of your sleep is to get a pillow that can be shaped into the exact form factor that allows you to get your best night's sleep. And that is MyPillow. I've been sleeping with MyPillow for a few years now, and I can tell you that when I have to travel and stay in hotels, I don't get a good night's sleep because I don't have MyPillow with me. Right now, you can save up to 60% off of everything offered to improve the quality of your sleep at shrnetwork.biz/MyPillow when you use the code SHR. Or you can call toll-free 800-889-4938. And remember to use code SHR to save up to 60% off of everything at their website. Magnesium. Knoll Creek Hemp Company's Delta 8 soft chews are the premier Delta 8 product on the market today. Knoll Creek's Delta 8 is produced from high-quality hemp-derived CBD oil, and soft chews are manufactured using proprietary nano-emulsification technique that ensures the Delta 8 soft chew will timely deliver the desired effects cleanly and consistently from piece to piece. In a space where at least 70% of the products fail to meet label claims and where most users of conventional hemp products are left disappointed, Knoll Creek's Delta 8 soft chews are a product you can trust. Visit shrnetwork.biz/Delta8. That's DELTA and the number 8, and use the code SHR20 to get 20% off your first order today.
New Mass Pro Synthogen X2 just upped its own legendary game. To distance itself even further from the rest of the pack, Synthogen X2 now has double the key active ingredients. If you've ever wondered what steroid-like recovery feels like, Synthogen X2 delivers. See why others compare it favorably to powerful bodybuilding drugs at synthogen.com. Mass Pro Synthogen. When you train with it, you'll gain with it.
Is there something interfering with your happiness or ability to achieve your goals? BetterHelp can help. They will assess your needs and match you with a licensed therapist. This is not a self-help or crisis line. It's professional counseling done securely online. They have a broad range of experts and are available worldwide without having to wait in an uncomfortable waiting room. Get the help you need and start living a happier life today. Go to shrnetwork.biz/betterhelp. That's better, H-E-L-P, and receive 10% off your first month of counseling when you use the code SHR.
This is the Superhuman Channel, where we use oxygen for the power of good.
You know, let me turn my camera on here. You know you're over the target when they start deleting your shows while they're airing.
Wow.
LinkedIn just dropped this show because they said we're spreading medical misinformation. And meanwhile, we haven't talked about anything except studies from Oxford at the beginning of the show and the level of distrust that people have for the media. And LinkedIn proves the point. They prove the point. And they literally said, "Oh, your show goes against our misinformation policies, so we've removed it." You know what? I got to tell you something. It doesn't frustrate me. It makes me know when they delete. Is that your next interview?
No, we're good.
All right. When they delete you today, you're on the right side of history. Just remember that. Because that's all they got. They can't argue against what you're talking about, so they got to erase you. That's all they can do. So I'm very proud that LinkedIn just deleted today's show because it goes to show that they're part of the quant, the algorithm. You know, that's it. Okay, we got a couple quick questions, and then we'll pull it. So Dean Paulson says. Magnesium potentiates kratom. Do you know what mechanism that is through? Now, obviously, does that affect the opioid receptor in any way, shape, or form?
I'm unsure of that. I know I have a researcher on my team which is more familiar. So if they sent that question over to our customer service, I'll direct it up the line to someone who might be able to accurately.
How do they get it to customer service?
They just contact us, support it by optimizers, put it out, and then I will direct it to our neurochemical expert who's involved in the development of our nootropics and stuff like that. And he's actually worked with those particular pathways and would know certainly better than I would.
Being Lahori Fitness says, did magnesium affect your libido in any way? In other words, being depleted, reestablishing saturation, notice anything?
We have about 10, I would say, and I'm just guessing just from the Q&As that I get in, about 10% of our users have reported benefits. Now, what I believe that is from a reduction in adrenal cortisol response.
Stress.
Puts you in a more relaxed state. So it's not a direct impact. It would be an indirect pathway.
So this is interesting that we're talking about this. I get lots of emails from guys who are looking for answers about ED. Young guys in their 40s, 50s. I mean, they're getting younger and younger. And so there's two types of ED that I've learned. Number one is you really have a problem with Mr. Happy. Blood flow is being blocked, plaque buildup. That comes with age and so on. And that can be reversed, by the way, number one. But there's another form of ED. So I always ask men, Do you get nocturnal erections? Do you ever wake up in the middle of the night with an erection? If you do, your penis works.
Yep.
It just doesn't work when you want it to. When you're most relaxed in your sleep, your penis gets hard and you're like, oh man, why doesn't it do this when I want to make love to my partner? That's anxiety related.
Yep.
And magnesium can definitely help with anxiety. There's no doubt about it. Look at the research.
Yep.
So, yeah, I think that there probably is an indirect effect. Do you ship to Canada?
Yes, we do.
And that's got to be Peter Penorgus because his name isn't showing up today and he lives in Canada.
Yep.
So you do. So on the same website, do they have to go to a different website?
Yeah, no, go to the same one. They can grab it.
Okay. All right. So here, let me just put this up one more time so everybody knows about it. This is the single best magnesium supplement in the world. I take it at night before bed. I'm actually going to start taking more of it throughout the day as well. If you go to shrnetwork.biz/mag, M-A-G, use the code SHR10, you'll save an additional 10% off. They have a 100% money back guarantee. You're either satisfied or you're not. Free shipping. And look around for deals. If you like this stuff, they have a 3-pack, 4-pack, 5-pack, where the more you buy, the deeper your discount. You can actually get this stuff for like 50% off. If you know you like it and you know you're going to be buying it every month, just buy a 6-month supply in one schwack. That's it.
And I would suggest try doing a loading phase when you first start and really start bumping up that magnesium. We've explained how to do that. If you reach out to our support, it also comes with it. And people will get a much faster effect, and it's very somatic. Most people notice it with a couple caps, but why not go all in and feel what it feels like to be really relaxed, really calm, really clear. And it will help you make better decisions and feel better about your life under the conditions we are. I mean, first time I've been censored on the show.
While the show is going, usually they get me a day or two later and they say, "Oh, you know, we gotta take that show down."
Yeah,
this one was like LinkedIn is like, "Oh no, they must have been watching."
Wow,
and they must have heard the intro and they thought, "Oh, we can't let this get out there. If he wakes people up, we'll be in trouble."
That's crazy.
That's okay. I'm proud to do it with you, brother.
Thanks. Me too. Bro.
No, when we have these honest conversations,
yeah.
That we put ourselves on the line to have these conversations right now. But those of you who disagree, these conversations are just as much for your freedom. If you want to disagree, that's fine. God bless you. I love you. Disagree with me.
Yeah.
But the idea that we can't talk about this, if that doesn't scare you, well, then it's too late for you.
If anyone reads the Gulag Archipelago, that Alexander Solzhenitsyn realized that it was his own agency that ended him up in that prison because he was the police of speech, till eventually the police came to his door and locked him up in a prison system. It's here in America. We've got to resist, and I'm proud to be part of the resistance with you.
Yes.
Carl. Thank you.
Viva la resistance.
Thank you so much for having me.
Have a good weekend, everybody. We'll see you next week. Thanks, brother. Talk to you soon. And that's it for Superhuman Radio. Please share the show. Bye.